everybody, this is Melissa and you're watching Melissa Explains It All. So today I am starting a new series for my channel and I'm not sure what I'm gonna call it yet. It's either gonna be the 5-minute makeover or the 10-minute makeover from the inside out. It all depends on how long this video ends up being. I have been really inspired to do something like this since I really started watching YouTube hardcore about 10 months ago, actually no, 17 months ago when my son was born, and I wanted to put together my love and passion for counseling and helping and just incorporate it into a channel that also included my hobbies like beauty and home stuff and vlogging. And so today will be the first official video where I'm talking a little bit more in detail using my professional background in mental health counseling to provide some educational stuff. Another thing I'd like to say before we get into the meat and potatoes is that this video is a collab with my friend Nita. Her channel is called Nita's Niche. She has a very eclectic channel with a lot of different things, just kind of like mine. Journaling videos, haul videos here and there, and also relaxation videos focused on healing. And we'll be talking about how useful relaxation is in overcoming day-to-day anxiety and general stress. So I'm going to link her video below. We're collabing here today, and she filmed a video on progressive muscle relaxation, which is a relaxation technique used very often in the counseling setting. I will go ahead and link that video in the description box so you can go ahead and check that out. Please keep in mind that the purpose of this video is to help educate and inspire people to basically just like live their best life and have access to some of this very basic information. So today's episode, or today's video rather, is about anxiety. Anxiety is a normal and protective reaction to stress. It becomes a problem when the duration or the length, the amount of anxiety that you feel day to day and the intensity really have a negative impact on your life. So I'm gonna go over some 5 tips to help overcome anxiety. Number 1 would be finding a really good therapist. Finding a therapist can be a challenge, just like finding a good doctor, a good tax accountant, a good anything. You might have to meet a couple people, interview a couple people until you find someone that you feel comfortable with. So keep in mind that not all therapists work the same, just like all professionals in any area don't work the same exact way. And something you might want to ask when you're interviewing therapists is if they have certification in cognitive behavioral therapy. It's considered overall one of the best forms or methods of therapy because it combines thinking and behavior, and it is actually science-based. Evidence-based as being one of the most effective forms of therapy. Number 2 tip for overcoming anxiety is working with a medical doctor. You want to make sure you see your doctor also, just to ensure that there isn't any other underlying physical issue that might be tied to the anxiety that you feel. There are some medical conditions that are related or go hand in hand with possibly causing anxiety. Things like neurological disorders, inflammatory disorders, endocrine system disorders, also cardiopulmonary disorders, and any biochemical changes that can be the result of nicotine use, cocaine use, even things like caffeine or other medications. The number 3 tip, which is actually one of the things that I did most often when I was a therapist and also a school counselor. Again, don't forget to check out my friend Nita's video on progressive muscle relaxation. It's in the description box. Basically what that is you learn to focus on the different muscle groups in your body and you tighten and relax them one group at a time, and you kind of really are focusing on what you're doing. There's no other distractions. You're just focusing on your body and how you get your muscles to contract and to relax, and focusing on the way your body feels and noting that difference between being tense and being relaxed can be very helpful in being able to take hold of your body when you feel really anxious or when you might be in the middle of, let's say, something like a panic attack. So relaxation therapy is very useful in working with or overcoming anxiety. Things that you can do are you can join yoga classes, you can do Tai Chi, which is very nice and relaxing. If you're not able to sign up and pay for classes, we have the wonderful world of YouTube. The important thing to remember when it comes to relaxation, as well as anything else that you learn in therapy, is to actually practice it. So many times when I would work with students in the school system who were like in the middle of a panic attack, and I would ask them, have you been practicing as much as possible relaxation? And they would tell me honestly that they hadn't been, just because they just hadn't made it a priority. And no one can really force you to change or force you to get better. You are in charge of that yourself. So I highly encourage you to keep in mind that in order to really overcome anxiety, you have to practice relaxation as often as you can. Make it a part of your lifestyle. If you could do it every day, that'd be great. That might not be realistic with work, if you work and have kids, or if you're in school and you've got a lot on your plate. Even if you do it 3 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever you can do, it's going to be better than nothing. The fourth tip is to reshape your thinking, and this is something that is learned best in the counseling setting. So let me give you a little example. I used to be so scared to drive. I pretty much had a phobia of driving. I would get in the car, and when I would have to drive, if there was traffic or if I thought someone was gonna change lanes and hit me, I would almost feel like I was about to have an anxiety attack. I would get chest palpitations, and I'd have a hard time breathing. Sometimes I'd even get a little lightheaded, and it was really tough. And I remember by the time that I really actually started to drive, it wasn't until I was in college, and I think probably when I was working on my master's, where I was learning about this stuff, and I just said, I'm gonna practice what I preach, and I'm gonna put what I know into effect. So I just started to reshape and rethink, and I would tell myself, Melissa, how many times have you driven down the street and someone's actually slammed into you? Never. How many times have you driven on the expressway and you drive through an overpass and a car falls down? Never. Those are the thoughts that I would think when there'd be an overpass, and I would kind of think, oh my God, what if a car were to drop? But I would have to catch myself in that moment and stop, and then rethink it and be like, that's not realistic. It doesn't happen. It hasn't happened. And the chances of that happening are probably 1 in a million. Practicing things like that, and that's just one very short example, can be super helpful in overcoming those moments where you really feel anxious. And then the last tip is actually being exposed to your fears. If you just feel a mild form of anxiety, kind of like I did with driving or flying or whatever it may be, actually challenging yourself and getting in the car and going out there is the only way you're going to overcome it, because avoiding it is only gonna make it worse. If you have extremely irrational fears, there are some people who are afraid of things that I won't even mention, but they're not realistic, and there's no way you can get exposed to that. In therapy, you can talk about it. They do things where you imagine, or you let's say you role play how you would react if that crazy thing were to happen. You also talk about the reality of those things happening or not. There's something called eye movement desensitization. I have a hard time saying it, but I'll put it on the screen. That's also proven to be very effective, and there are clinicians who specialize in that form of therapy that you would want to find if you have an especially irrational, unrealistic fear that it's not really something you can be exposed to. So being exposed to fears in a way that is healthy and safe is going to work best in those cases with a professional counselor. Another thing to consider as well, whether it's you or if you have a family member or a son or daughter that's going to need therapy, that family therapy is really, really helpful too, because no one exists in a vacuum. We don't exist in our own little world all by ourselves. We have a family and friends and people around us that impact our everyday life, and sometimes family might think that they're helping the situation, but they might be actually hurting the situation. Another word for that in the counseling world is called enabling. You see that your son or daughter is afraid of something. You want to protect them because you don't want to see them scared or hurt, so you don't expose them to that. And that's actually not good. It's not adaptive. It's not healthy. And so that's why family therapy can be really, really helpful in getting parents or siblings or whoever is involved to understand their role and how they can actually help. And something that I forgot to mention earlier, but another thing is also obviously medication. Also keep in mind that medication, it's a give and take. You want to maintain communication with your doctor. Let them know how the medication is making you feel. They can work with it and tweak it. Don't give up. I'm not pushing medication or anything like that, but I do strongly suggest to not rely solely on one thing. Don't rely solely on counseling, and don't rely solely on medication. That's it. That's everything I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, more than anything, I would love for you to share this with someone. If there's someone in your life that's struggling with anxiety and you think that they might benefit from this information, please feel free to share this video with them. I hope it inspires you to do what you can to live your best life, because you are worthy. You are worthy of living a life that's full of happiness, joy, and good things. And no matter what you experience, inside your body, inside your mind, or outside of it, you should still be able to overcome and live a life of purpose and of joy. You are beautiful. You are loved. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.